Now, after damn near 1 year with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, despite its ups and downs, trials and tribulations, I think it's safe to say that it pretty much met my expectations. Now, after reviewing so many different phones on a consistent basis in the span of 4 years, I've come to realize that when it comes to any product in general, nothing is ever truly perfect. Every single thing in this world has a downside: phones, cars, people, everything. So it would be foolish to think that something can't be good just because it has a few things wrong with it. Being good isn't about being perfect, it's about doing the best with what you have to work with. And that example is what came to mind in my use with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's not perfect by any means, but it does get the job done and will pretty much fulfill all your needs in a top-tier flagship. Whether it be extremely powerful processor, an amazing ecosystem to complement your experience, amazing software that prioritizes communication, and amazing durability that will have the phone lasting for many years to come. So instead of me giving a political analysis on why you should or should not buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max a year later, I'm going to share my experience of how it's holding up and share my honest truth about the iPhone 15 Pro Max so that you guys can make that decision for yourselves. This video is brought to you by Wondershare Dr. Phone. Now, we all know that when it comes to having an advanced smartphone, it can come with many risks that put your data, privacy, and important information liable to be deleted or never recovered again. Maybe you forgot your pattern lock, maybe you entered the wrong password too many times, or maybe you have a kid around and they say your password and don't remember it. And believe it or not, I and many people have gone through this exact situation. And that's why I wanted to introduce you guys to my partner, Wondershare Dr. Phone. Now, Wondershare Dr. Phone not only has a really cool, unique name, but it's also a valuable all-in-one toolkit software for anyone who needs mobile device solutions. It solves problems in any scenario, from phone screen locks to system breakdowns, data loss, and more. And a perfect example of this was for a situation that I was just in. Now, I usually never download the beta for any software, but for some reason, iOS 18 caught my interest the most. So I decided to take a risk and download it so that I could play with the new features, but I was extremely worried about updating since I could lose my data. But thanks to Wondershare Dr. Phone, I was able to back up my data so that I could securely and safely get the iOS 18 beta with no worries. So if you are someone who likes that extra source of protection when it comes to your data, or you just want a safe lock screen removal tool, make sure you click the link in the description and comment section of today's video, or you can just search Dr. Phone on Google. And again, I want to thank Wondershare Dr. Phone for sponsoring today's video. Now, if this is your first time watching a video of mine and you didn't know, I will say that 80% of the videos on my channel are shot with an iPhone. Many unboxings, reviews, and day in the life videos are in the hands of the iPhone because I believe that it has the best smartphone camera by far. And while the process throughout the years has been incredibly smooth, there's one problem that I've been having since the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and Apple still fails to fix it. Now, whenever I'm shooting the side of the phone or doing a close-up, it'll automatically switch over to the telephoto camera and it looks terrible. As you can see right here, the quality looks extremely grainy and low budget. And it gets even worse on video since the telephoto camera provides zero stabilization. So even if I'm standing still or doing the slightest pan, it will come off as extremely shaky. Even taking everyday videos of something can be a problem since the quality often doesn't even look like it's coming from a new phone. Apple has helped by adding a button to where you can get rid of it, but when you do this, the autofocus becomes horrible and can't focus, so you'll just have to activate that feature again if you want to capture the subject clearly. Another problem that I've encountered has to do with the iPhone 15 Pro Max's latest edition, which is the action button. Now, the action button is a really cool idea, but I always feel like Apple has failed at maximizing its potential. And what I mean by that is that the action button only serves one purpose, when in reality, it should serve multiple. Whenever you set up what you want to use the action button for, it usually only lets you do one thing with it, when it should be two. So instead of me only being able to make it a mute button or a flashlight button, I think that the mute button within it should be standard, and it should also have the option to add a double press feature. So if I hold my action button, it will mute or unmute my notifications. And if I double tap it, it should pull up whatever I programmed it to do, like a flashlight, recorder, etc. And I think that this is a fun way that they could maximize the action button, and they could push it even further by adding a triple press option and let you do more with it. And the final problem that I've encountered when it comes to the iPhone is its lack of features. Now, Apple has a lot of good qualities that make it my personal favorite over other phones, but one of the many reasons as to why I often switch back to my Galaxy S24 Ultra or Z Fold 6 is because they offer many more features that adds to the premium experience. Apple still has yet to add a ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, support for faster charging, better ultra zoom capabilities, and it's extremely limited in AI features when compared to the Galaxy and Pixel. And I believe that this is the main reason why this experience feels the same as the past 6 iPhones. Apple hasn't really done much to add significant features, and the things that I listed aren't even really that crazy to ask for. These are basic things that other phone companies have had for damn near 6 years, which kind of shows you how behind Apple is. But other than the dislikes that I've listed, again, the 15 Pro Max will give you a pretty good experience. And if you want a top tier iPhone that does everything that the 12, 13, and 14 Pro Max does, but a little bit better and more stable, this is the perfect option for you. Now, one of the most beautiful aspects of the iPhone has always been the display, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max doesn't disappoint. Its 6.7-inch size, complemented with Super Retina XDR, was not only able to add to its vibrancy and contrast, but it was also big enough to where you can see everything very clearly. Size and vibrance wasn't the only thing that it had going for it, so if you're someone who was always in a bright setting, or you just like your phone to always have a high brightness, the 15 Pro Max has 2000 nits of peak brightness, so you should have no trouble seeing anything, no matter the circumstance. The 120Hz refresh rate, mixed in with the Apple signature style, resulted in a very smooth scrolling experience. Apple's style with anything has always been able to make the experience smooth and seamless as possible, so scrolling and responsiveness represented this very well. And despite my disappointment that the 15 Pro Max doesn't have a ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, as always, Face ID was extremely fast and accurate. It worked well during the day, at night, and even when my head was turned at an angle. Resolution was good, not as great on paper as the S24 Ultra or Pixel 8 Pro, since those phones are closer to 1440p, but it was good enough. The 15 Pro Max's battery is very subjective. I've seen that a lot of people are having problems, but in my experience, the percentage that I'm getting at the end of each day, mixed in with my on-screen time, is what I would consider above average. Not as great as the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but also not as bad as the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I've had my 15 Pro Max for closer to a year, and my battery capacity is still at 100%, which is really good. I usually charge my phone once a day, either at night or right before I go to sleep, or in the morning when I forget to charge it at night. I don't do anything to extend the battery. My average active on-screen time is 6 to 7 hours, which is pretty heavy usage. And I mainly use my phone for social media, YouTube videos, filming. The only problem that I had with the battery is that its charging is relatively slow. Its max speed is 0 to 100 in 2 hours, compared to the S24 Ultra's top speed of 0 to 100 in 1 hour and 5 minutes. But besides that, the battery has been pretty good. Most of the time you'll only need one charge for the day and it should be good to go. Now, something that ties into the 15 Pro Max's battery is its performance, and the A17 Pro chip is arguably the most powerful in the smartphone market. I was able to test out some pretty powerful games on my 15 Pro Max. Games like Genshin Impact, Call of Duty Mobile, and Asphalt 9 are among my favorites. I usually play on the highest settings, and with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I didn't get any hiccups or lags. The frame rate stayed very consistent, and it didn't take up too much battery. And when I usually play games, I usually sit down on it or put a stand on it. And when I play games, I usually sit my phone down or put it on a stand, so I can't really feel it overheating. But I decided to play it while holding it in my hands, and it really didn't get too hot, but it did heat up a bit. Again, I'm not gonna lie and say that it's overheating to fit a narrative like other critics. This is still my honest experience after a year of use. And as far as aesthetics and build quality, you still get that Apple Pro feel, rounded corners, boxy frame, and a nice heavy weight that adds to its quality. Again, we have USB-C, which is extremely helpful since I now can use one cable for all my devices. And there's a titanium frame that not only adds more durability to the body, but it's also on the sides, which continues that consistent feel and is also less prone to fingerprints. Now, in terms of camera, the iPhone 15 Pro Max still takes amazing pictures. Going down the list of highlights, the selfies are easily some of my favorite. The sharpness is just right. My skin tone is very accurate. The depth of blur is high quality, and the consistency is very impressive. Videos were the strongest high point of the camera. Whether I'm inside or outside the house, it's always able to give me some really good videos. And my favorite reason as to why I choose to shoot videos with the 15 Pro Max is because of how well it does when it comes to lighting. Whether it's not great lighting or great lighting, the iPhone has always been able to give me the best visuals and adjusted to the point where I'm able to shoot a video. It's very reliable, and I can really count on it to make the shot look good. Everyday photos are my favorite as well, and it basically continues all the strong points of the selfie camera, but to a higher degree. It's a little bit sharper, the colors are a little bit more vibrant, and the camera software enhances this to the max. Even inside photos were really good. There were times where there was some yellow tint, but it's not as common as in older iPhones, but it still does need to get fixed. And there it is, you guys, my review on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's a phone that I've gotten a lot of enjoyment from, despite its minor shortcomings. Also, I can't wait to see what the iPhone 16 Pro Max will do. I think that Apple may have peaked in terms of innovation. So let me know down in the comments, you guys. Do you think that it's worth buying the iPhone 15 Pro Max, or to just wait until the 16 Pro Max come out?